Kusa, thank you. Here at Nyayo National Stadium, as you can see, I think the progress is on course. The organization is stellar compared to yesterday, but there have been some small incidences out there. We are not so sure whether there are more mourners that are walking into Nyayo National Stadium that were bad, or there are some that wanted to make another round, but that has been contained. But inside of importance is the level of organization. My colleague will be able to show you how the security personnel have lined up and have organized the mourners or the supporters that are here. But because of the many of them, the numbers that are high in thousands, they have been asked to move with speed, because there are those that are still seated in the terraces. They have been patient. Those ones have been here since morning, and they opted just to wait for the queue to reduce in size or to subside, if that is a better term, and then so that their time comes. But as I've said, we have had some commotion outside the stadium. We cannot tell whether there are those ones that are still coming, because when the government announced yesterday that after the state funeral, viewing will continue until as many Kenyans as possible in Nairobi have had the opportunity, it's when the exercise will come to an end. So we are not so sure what will be happening later. But with me, again joined by one, Maurice Ochieng, aka Mdomobagi, that yesterday we had a brief interview at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, and I feel we did not actually conclude our interview. But the reason why I want to have him here is basically just to take us through what next, because there's a statement that has come from ODM NEC about the cancellation of the planned taking the body of Raila Odinga to his current residence for overnight stay, but they've said it will remain here and then lean off to Kisumu. Maybe if you can just clarify that and maybe explain to us what has led to that decision.
Well, whereas those decisions must have been made out of careful considerations, I want to believe that primarily the primary focus right now is the family. Their well-being, their security, and of course the well-being of everybody else. I think today everybody has had a chance to view the body of His Excellency, Dr. Odinga, and they are still continuing. So the overnight vigil is not something that is bound in stone in legal terms. It is something that is purely by the preference of any family. And if then it has been determined so, then we have no option but to obey the wishes of the family. But also I would just like to urge Kenyans and Nairobians, of course, there is the outpouring of love. And we all cannot converge in one place at the same time. It becomes logistically very, very, very difficult. And sometimes you end up with unintended consequences. Of course, the coming of people is based on the outpouring of love, and everybody is precious to us. It will be tragic if in our convergence or in our congregation, we again end up losing any or some of us. So I think there must have been a very good merit in making those decisions, but I think it's also important that we understand that in such moments, family sanctity is paramount.
About tomorrow in Kisumu, here at the Nyayo National Stadium, it has been organized, but tomorrow it has just been said that they will be viewing in Kisumu at the Moi Stadium, Kenyatta Stadium in Kisumu. So what is the program like from where you sit, unless there are other changes, but until today, what is the program like for tomorrow in Kisumu?
Well, you know, there is the National Planning Committee, and of course they also adjust the programs based on the emerging realities. Basically, we have had the state funeral service here, and you know, when you do state funeral service, you don't do them in multiples. However, because every leader has their region where they come from ancestrally, and if you're talking about the entire Luo Nyanza region, the common ground is Kisumu. actually basically Western Kenya, even if you're talking about Kakamega, Vihiga. So that is a major convergence point, and in his own history politically, very major statements have been made in Kisumu in his political career, when we were just about to launch ODM itself, when we were about to launch the new constitution, the referendum, Chungwa versus Ndizi. So the people of the entire Western region, be it Kakamega, Vihiga, Bungoma, Trans Nzoia, Busia, Kisii, Siaya, Migori, Homa Bay. So the convergence is so that they may have the same opportunity. But of course, there are those basic protocols that even if we are viewing, go with it. Prayers, honors, because right now, the body is in the custody of the National Defense Forces. So because it is agreed that generally it's a state funeral, it means that every single thing is done in consonance with that. And we may hear from not too many leaders, because again, we want to remain within the confines of mourning. We don't want to allow some innuendos that perhaps may not be intentional at this moment.
Appreciated. I just needed to know how the day will look like, if there are any changes or from where you stand, but I respect the fact that there is a team in place, and maybe we will await for the briefing in the evening that will give us a clearer picture on what will happen. As the official master of ceremony for Raila Odinga functions, again, how did you receive the news of Raila Odinga? Of course, it was early in the morning, waking up to it, and if you could just tell us, how was Raila's last leg in life been like? Because he took what people would say a low profile momentarily, and then all of a sudden tragedy struck. Take us through Raila's final steps.
I think his final days, looking back, let's say even 6 months, he has been very, very compassionate.